So we have a few thoughts, and we have come on to the topic of brain spotting.
Yeah.
Both of us have done it.
Mm-hmm. You've done it, but have you like performed it with people?
Yeah. So I want to say about a year and a half ago, I did the training for level 1, which anybody that takes level 1 can essentially do it on their own. It's a very basic setup. I've done 3 other ones. And the last one that I did was actually with the creator of Brainspotting, David Grand. Very cool guy. All the things that I thought originally doing Brainspotting 1 training, that was like that Brainspotting was missing.
Mm-hmm.
He validated that for me, because just like he added in all of these things and took the guardrails off. So like the places that you need to go in the space, you were given permission at that level to do it, instead of being rigid. One thing you'll find out about me is I don't like textbooks, like textbook manuals, like this is how to do it. It's like, let me consume it and just do it myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that. I'm kind of like that too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like people telling me what to do.
Yeah. It's just like funny story there. What was the last eclipse?
Oh, that was like
2 summers ago, or last summer ago?
I think it was last summer.
So I go to the Wisconsin School of Professional Psychology. Everybody that's there during the day, or typically when I was there, was all psychologists, my professors, that sort of thing. And just like the eclipse was going on, they're like, let's go outside. I'm like, no, I can't do that. I'm like, why? I'm just like, well, if you tell me I can't look at the sun, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at the sun. And for the entire day, it's like, oh, all right, well, Jeff's antisocial. Just like, we get a lot more of you now.
Okay, that's funny.
Like, no. So yeah, I struggle there. And it comes up every once in a while.
Okay.
Like, don't tell Jeff to look at the sun, or don't look at the sun.
Okay.
So, but anyways, I'm really curious about your experience with brain spotting. Like, what things came up for you?
Okay, well, let's first tell the people what brain spotting is.
No, nobody wants to know that.
You know the definition of it. I'm a why person, and I want to know why this is a thing. What is it?
All right, so we can dive a little bit into it.
Mm-hmm.
The teachings and what I think is actually going on underneath are a little bit different. Not so far off, but a little bit. So brain spotting is a neuro-experiential model that's based on the premise of where you look activates a certain memory, or a certain something that's still trapped inside of you, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So when you focus on this area, it's processing whatever it is that you're working on in that session.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're finding distress points, and also kind of resource points, because you don't want to dive into the fire, so to say, all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what during the training we're taught to a certain degree, is how to let up the gas, apply the brakes, so that the nervous system doesn't like re-traumatize itself. During, well, a little bit before and during, there's like typical check-ins. So like what they refer to as this level of distress. So starting from 0 and going all the way to 10, 0 being the least amount of distress and 10 being the most amount of distress. Where do you find that distress? Like whether it's in your body, like how you're experiencing it. And that's kind of our judge on how we apply these brakes, and maybe even the gas pedal.
Interesting. Okay. What was interesting when I did it was like the person performing it or doing it with me knew where to stop. And then I had to say what I was thinking. I didn't understand, like, what did I do in that moment that made you feel that way? Is it like an energy, or what is it? Or is it just like, I don't know. What is it?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question.
Yeah.
Because it is a little bit of a mixture of a few things.
Yeah.
So let's say that I'm doing brain spotting with you and going across like your visual field.
Yeah.
So like on this x-axis.
Yeah. So if you don't know what brain spotting is, like literally they're using a tool and they're just like going in different directions until they know when to stop. And then they stop and ask you, what is it that you're feeling or thinking about right in this moment? And then you kind of go into that. So anyways. Yeah,
there might be a shake in your eye.
Okay, I figured.
Some kind of distress. It could be blinking. And also, like, you speak about energy. So when you're in that space, and this is the thing that I take away probably the most from brain spotting is using what's known as that's still a little bit up in the air whether the science is good, but like that mirror reflex or like the mirror neurons. So like I'm picking up on your nervous system, or I'm understanding your experience just by being with you in the same room.
Yeah.
There's a lot within attachment theory that describes this, the ability for the mom to calm the baby, so to say. And if that science is correct, then we are using a little bit of the knowledge of what we're going through to understand where our client is feeling some more of that distress.
Okay.
So like when I've worked with clients, it can get very intense. Like what they're going through, like they may experience pain or sadness in one way, and I might experience their pain or sadness in a different way. So it can become very, very intimate. You don't know what comes up, and that's the experiential model, like in itself.
Yeah.
Is kind of going with wherever the space is taking you.
Okay.
So following with the client, being there to hold whatever is being kind of just like in the room.
Yeah.
And then processing it, talking about it afterwards.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, I'll tell you what I experienced because it was intense. And this is no shade to anybody in my life at the moment. Like I've come to peace with a lot. And so I don't want to like make it seem like I'm calling anybody out necessarily. But this is also something I hadn't thought about like outwardly. So when it happened, I was like, wow, I didn't even think, like, this is bringing some real deep stuff to the surface that I wasn't even knowing was sitting there this much. And at the time, like my stress level was like insane. And I think a lot of it had to do with my kids and knowing if I was a good enough mom. And, you know, those are deeper emotions and deeper thoughts that people kind of push down, I think, so that they can survive and like function when they're trying to be those things. But so I was in this room, and that is what popped up was like my childhood and how I felt without having like a real mother presence in my life, like a nurturing female presence consistently in my life. Because when I was a kid, I was very part-time with my mom, and I live with my dad. And so, as you know, like a mother and child's bond is like way stronger than any, like you can have somebody come in as a step parent and it's most of the time not the same, unless, I don't really know. I mean, just, this is just based off my experience, you know, as far as what I've experienced. But when you don't have that consistent mother in your life, it can feel almost like you're missing a part of you in a way, or you miss out on that bond, I guess. And my fear, I think deep down, was that I wouldn't be a good enough mom because I didn't have that myself. Like I didn't really have that. And I only knew what I knew or what I had experienced. And I think that at that time I was kind of going through some issues with my oldest child's father. Like there was some back and forth about some things that they disagreed with and I disagreed with them, and it was just kind of like a disagreement, and it was kind of heavy because I cherish my children and I always want my children to be happy and want the best for them and all those things. But it kind of like woke up this feeling of like not being good enough and like feeling like I wasn't being a good enough mom. So when we were doing the brain spotting, that's what popped up in my head, and I just like I think I fell back into like my child self and just like melted down, and I started crying and she started crying and we were both crying, and like, but it was like, okay, so now I know where this feeling of not feeling good enough is coming from. It's because I don't even know what it, like I never experienced this, what it's supposed to feel like. And I always grew up with friends, like with their parents and like having a mother, and and I always like felt really sad when I'd see other people with their moms and their, you know, relationships with their parents, and mine were just not that.
So how was that revealed to you? Like thinking of brain spotting, like things come all of a sudden, but sometimes things come afterwards, and it's just like, what?
I know. So it was like 2 weeks of hell for me because it kept coming back, and I kept thinking of like more and more things that were like triggering those feelings. And I really was able to like bring to the surface things that I was obviously holding on to with like things like people I resented or things that I resented, and like kind of like putting myself into their shoes too, and maybe like why they did certain things the way they did, and just trying to like find ways to forgive them, because I feel like if that were me, I would hope that my children wouldn't see me as like this awful person if I did something to hurt them on like never would intentionally hurt them, but like if there was ever something I did, that they could forgive me for that. And so like if I want forgiveness, I need to forgive, and I think that also sets a person free from that resentment or that anger or hurt or whatever. I feel like for a couple weeks, and still sometimes to this day, I'm like, what can I do to be a better parent? What can I do? It's like, and maybe that's a common thing. I don't know. Maybe a lot of parents think that way, but yeah, there's a lot of doubt I've had as a parent. And I remember too, when I was a younger adult, I didn't think I was ever going to have kids. Like I was like, I'm never getting married. I'm never having kids. I'm just going to travel the world. Which to this day, I'm like, kind of tried it. It didn't really work, but yeah. And then I just ended up having that happen, and I was like, okay, here we are, just getting thrown to the wolves.
So a little bit of that revelation, like it sounds like there's an understanding of like that even some of like the smaller things that we experience in life have bigger impact than we like to maybe admit sometimes. So like the plight of the parent, like we don't know the good things that we do. We don't know if they have impact. We don't know how big or small some of the struggles that we have with our own selves or our parenting skills, how those things are affecting. And at the end of the day, like we just pray it's good enough.
One thing that I do know is that I can't change my childhood, but I can do things differently in my adulthood as a parent. And one thing that I do know that I try to do more is check in with my kids. Like I try to have conversations with them and make sure that I'm a safe place for them to talk to me, like about whatever it is that they're feeling, even if it's like negative, even if it's something that might hurt my feelings, because really it's not about me. At the end of the day, it's about them and their experience. And I think when I was younger, like I had mentioned in the last podcast, is like you didn't talk about things. You weren't allowed to talk about your feelings. You weren't allowed to talk about anything that was negative. What a parent says is how it goes, and that's that, and like kind of like that attitude, right? But for me, it's like we also talked about last week, the topic of like having a parent role. Like you also need to admit when you're wrong too. Like you're not perfect either, and your kids need to know that, because if they don't see you as a vulnerable human being as well, they're not going to respect or trust you with their feelings and their emotions.
Yeah.
And so I make a point to make sure that my kids can come to me if they have anything they need to talk to me about, ever, even if it's something about me that I need to change. Like humble me, please, because and my daughter and I do that, and I think that's really healthy, because holding on to like heavy feelings, like especially if they're misunderstood, like let's say my daughter misunderstands something that I did or said, or like I need her to feel safe enough to tell me. And there have been moments where I'd get upset and I'd have to go back and apologize and reassure her that it's okay if she feels the way she feels, and let's work on like fixing this. And I think it's so important to have that connection with your child.
That's something I've noticed, that like after going through like my healing journey personally, that I will apologize more. Like I will say I'm sorry and why what I did was not just typically stupid, right?
Yeah.
And also like if I like, let's say I yell at my son, I'm just like, sorry, that really upset me. I should not have done that. And it was liberating. Like, wow, I actually was able to let go of my own ego to do that.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, is the ego. Sometimes a lot of adults with their children have an ego where they think they're the adult, they're the parent, they're right. But that's not always the case. Sometimes you have to admit you're wrong.
Well, that's what we know. That's what we experienced, right? It's just like, all right, we've never had this modeled to us before. There's no apology from a parent when they've done something wrong. So you just always think that you're wrong.
Yes.
It's like, I don't know how things would have changed for me if maybe I would have heard a sorry, or hey, I wasn't right to decide that for you, or whatever the case was.
Yeah.
And I don't know the implications of that either, though, too.
Yep.
So
I actually had a recent experience in this. I think I told you I was thinking about my dad not too long ago,
Mhm.
because I was like, why am I thinking about this? It's just like it really like reminded me why I do things differently. And it was about setting boundaries for me with my family, because I've been working on doing that more, because to protect my kids from things that I don't want them to have to experience, I need to start setting boundaries with my family in situations I don't want to put them in. And in this case, I set a boundary and he didn't like it. And it turned into he kind of turned it around on me and said, well, this is a conviction that you have, and you're the only one making this uncomfortable. And that was kind of like the conversation. And it was like, but you understand that this is actually why I don't feel comfortable talking to you. And this is probably why you don't understand why I'm upset and why I'm setting this boundary, because you haven't taken the time to understand. And even if I tell you, even if I were to tell you over and over and over and over again, you're still going to turn it around and make it about me and make it that it's because of me. And it's like, well, that's not fair. That's not fair. Like, I don't ever want my kids to feel that way. Like, if they're setting a clear boundary with me, first of all, I'm going to want to know why, of course. And I'm going to want to fix whatever it is that they're setting a boundary with me for. Like, I guess that's where the ego thing comes in, right?
That's what's coming up for me, is that ego strength.
Yeah.
And just like talking about like grace and all that too, like what we were talking about earlier. Like that's tough, because like you can have empathy, and this comes up for me, and I it's thematic throughout my clients too. I want to be able to be upset with my father or my mother, and I can't now because fill in the reason.
Yeah.
It's like they're going through stuff. No, I feel bad. I hate that I'm so caring even in the moment. I still should be allowed to be angry.
Right.
And that makes it really tough. I do want to go back to like the aspect of brain spotting and how that connected for you after. It's like, because it comes up, like a couple of the things that I've gone through it still pops up in my like everyday experience. How did it change your perceptions? Like, or did it? Because I noticed just a different vantage point. It's like, I think you were describing this to a certain degree with like the orientation toward your children. Like, you're starting to understand through your experiential model growing up what they might be going through. So I guess looking at that as one, like even questioning, like for me, like, all right, is that a good way of doing it? Like, I might have a little anxiety, like, of changing things so much. But yeah, I guess kind of perceptual vantage point.
Well, maybe I can explain to you this. Like, this just happened this week. I was talking to my daughter about something that happened this last week. No, maybe it wasn't this last week. Anyway, whatever the conversation was, it was about one of her other parents. I'll say that. And the reflection was that I wasn't prioritizing my daughter, or like making enough time for her. And a part of me was like, that's really weird to me, because I feel like I almost like, I'm like overly obsessed with my kids. Like I go out of my way to make time for them any chance I can. It's not all the time, because sometimes there's work, and I prioritize my family over work most of the time. But at the same time, if I have to pay the bills, then that I do need to work. Like, that comes first, obviously. And I think there were like 2 times in my life with my kids that I missed. Like, I think I missed the first day of school last year. Yeah. Last year with my 2 littles, and it like killed me inside. I was like, and then I did miss a couple parent teacher conferences when my daughter was like in elementary school. When I was sick, the other one I was like, had to work or something, and I didn't have enough notice, so I couldn't. And my thought was, okay, I could get angry at that, but I actually feel like I need to get more curious. So I asked Callie, I'm like, well, do you feel like that? And she's like, well, no. She's like, at first I thought that with the club volleyball. She's in club volleyball. She's like, at first I thought that maybe you weren't prioritizing that, but after I talked to you, it made more sense why you couldn't be there. And so the club volleyball is like, it's very involved. It's every week, like almost, well, it was every weekend of my weekends. So I had the 2 little ones. They're all day events, and they're usually out of town. So I have to drive two little kids, entertain them the whole time. And they're like packed gymnasiums, right? With people and other kids, and it's chaos. And so I had to decide, okay, when am I going to be able to do this? And when am I going to have to say no? Of course, saying no kills me. Like if I can't go, it sucks, right? But I also have to be realistic. I need to be there for my other two children. I have, Callie does the volleyball all year long. So like I prioritize when I can and if it's convenient for me with the other ones. So anyways, I realized that I'm not able to go to all her club volleyball stuff. Financially, it's a little tight for me to do so. And with the other kids, it's a little hard being a single parent and all. So I actually did have to explain that to her at one point, and she did understand it. And it doesn't like hurt her feelings that I can't make it to all of them. But I was curious to know why her other parent felt that way. And she's like, well, she told me that her dad he never went to any of her events. So she didn't want that same thing to happen to me. I was like, okay, that's interesting. So it's a projection, right? And so I'm like, okay, this isn't about me. And isn't that the truth though? Like when someone is like upset or something, is it usually even ever about you? Sometimes like it's not. Like you always have to think about it in perspective sometimes and like take yourself out of your body and be like, let's look at the big picture here. This might not even be about me. So let's dissect this. And so that's another thing I learned with the brain spotting, going back to that, like, let's take ourselves out of our bodies, right? And like not make it about us all the time because that's where the ego steps in, I think.
Yeah, there's something about like watching the thinker too within all of that.
Yeah.
A couple different understandings of how people understand this is like even psychoanalysts like understood to a certain degree. I don't know if they understood scripture or just like the concepts of what you're experiencing. It's just like the other. So like you have two of us in a room. It's like there's something else that's also present with us, just that experience. And get like very much in the weeds with this concept, but like Christians understand this as like the Holy Spirit, that there is like an objective truth that's in the room, so to say. And being able to, I think with brain spotting, like it can also be like I want to say like a safety area, like not necessarily like a dissociation of sort, but being able to use the mind's eye to understand what your body is going through instead of being the inside child that's just trapped.
Yep.
You can experience rather than be in the shaky water, so to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like thinking of like where our conversation even started, like everything that's kind of like grown from that. Like we don't know how it's bringing this conversation up for me. Like when I was early on my journey, there's like this realization we don't know the effects of like just like even small things, what kindness is, have impact on just like people in our lives.
Yeah.
How can we sacrifice ourselves to something better? Which is a struggle because how do we know what's better?
Right.
How do we know what's good? I'll lose myself even on that one because that's a struggle.
Yeah.
I don't know what's good. I don't know what's best for my kid. Sorry, I don't know. I'll be the first one to admit it.
Yeah.
It's like spending time with them. That's the only thing I know.
That's a good one.
That works. And it sets the bar real low for me. So it's like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing.
Yeah. I think we all go into it unsure, like what we're doing. I can tell you 100% my oldest experienced the very early version of parenting for me, and it was not the same as it is now.
Okay.
She's grown with me. Okay. Like that girl has been through a lot. And they always say that about the oldest child, I think. You know, they kind of like, they're like forced to mature and like grow so quickly. And my daughter is like brilliant. Like she's so smart. And like, I think that's something the first child needs to have. Like they need to have the ability to like, I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it.
What kind of smarts is it? Like how would you determine that? She's
just wise beyond her years. Like she always has the answer. She's always like, duh, mom, like that kind of thing. Like, what do you mean? That's like, it's simple. Like this is she gives me advice. And I'm not saying that to like make me sound dumb either, but sometimes we don't look at it with an outside lens. And that's something that I'm still working on trying to do, which is what I was just explaining to you. Like sometimes you gotta step outside of yourself. But like sometimes she'll be like, Mom, what are you talking about? That's ridiculous. Like, why are you thinking like that? Or like, why are you? And it's like, you're right. Like, that's so, like, sometimes I don't think logically. I'm like thinking with my emotions. And I think that's very humbling. And I think that's something that I really admire about her. And she also is really good at like standing up for herself, and she has a voice. She's a very strong person. And I can see that working well for her in the future. Like she really, really, she doesn't step down to like things that she doesn't believe in. Like she really fights for that. And that's admirable.
She's strong and she's confident.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think to a certain degree, you probably helped build that up in her, right?
I don't know.
And just like even in ambiguity.
I don't know if that's nurture over nature. I don't know.
Well, having curiosity, like it's always easier to like give someone else advice rather than to take our own, essentially. And just like we do this in like the clinical room where it's like, all right, well, describe like even like an empty chair method. Just like, all right, your friend's sitting here going through the same thing. What the hell do you tell them?
Yeah, right.
Well, I tell them this, this, and this. And just like, all right, why can't you do that? And there's always 20,000 excuses why they can't do that. I'm just like, all right, well, you're right. Yeah, all of that stuff. Yeah. Don't say what you need. But yeah. And I've been the one to do this as well. Just even with like using the other, like understanding what I need through just some kind of objective truth. The brain spotting that I went through when I was doing my training, it brought up all of those, like, not just attachment things, but how it affected my daily life. I walked around rigid because of the fear and didn't know why I wasn't able to necessarily function in this way or that way. It just prevented me from doing it. And I thought just accepting it was okay.
Yeah.
And that actually made things worse. So like when I did the brain spotting, all those little connections were made. At least the visuals, the emotions that brought out, they were connections my brain made. It doesn't have to make sense. I just have to know that my brain was making these connections. So understanding that has been a lot more freeing.
Yeah.
And it's not that it doesn't still distress me, because it does. But there's a certain amount of grace I can give myself now.
Yeah. Yep. I feel the same way. I think that was the biggest part. It was just giving yourself grace. That's the only way to like stop the cycle of that thought process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't change the truth, so to say. Whatever that is.
Yep. Start with grace. Making sure you take accountability of your own crap. Like, let's be real. Let's lose the ego. Yeah. All those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we could go on forever on this.
I know.
But
let's save this for another time, I suppose, right?
Right.
So yeah, that concludes our episode today. Thanks for joining me again, Jeff.